Okay, that should be me. There we go. Okie dokie. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. That's what I want. Should be that. Just that. Yes. Okay. There we go. That's looking healthier. Tasks. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mojo, good morning. How are you doing, sir? Okie dokie. So, this morning, nothing too big. I'm going to try an experiment with adding the OTel collector and Prometheus in to see if I can't hook up the OpenTelemetry pieces to get this working. So, let's do this. Let's create a collector directory. Let's create a config.yaml. Yeah. And I'm going to take from that this piece. Okay. So this is help from Claude. Yeah, we're going to try Hotel. We're going to try and get it hooked up. It's in there from Aspire setup anyway. Yeah. Reg, good morning. How are you doing? Hope you are well. So we'll see what needs to configure here. I don't know everything I need, but we'll try and figure that out. So we're going to need. I don't want to copy it bit totally. I'm going to copy this, but I'm not going to copy that. Contradictory, but never mind. If my .NET install wasn't messed up, I plan to set up Seek with the Aspire install. Okay. I mean, we don't, yeah, okay. Like for the local dev stuff, the Aspire is great. We don't need to set up everything crazy right this second. But yeah. Okay, so let's copy this piece. Okay, so this is gonna be build hotel collector. Yeah, like locally, this is how you messed up your .NET. Why do you not like that? Oh, because you have to return, yeah, that's why. That's because these return service and deployment. Is this company project? No, this is my personal project. This is so yesterday. I updated the release of Liquid Sky. This is the project that I've been working on. And the this is now available if anyone wants to test it. What I'm trying to do today is just do some of the pieces around the edge. So I did configure as part of getting latest changes done. We did use Aspire, and I turned on the OpenTelemetry pieces there. So I'm going to try and hook up Prometheus today and see if I can get that working. I've not done this before, but I think it will help with just with keeping an eye on the thing. Do you currently work on some company or full-time person project? No, I work for a company. This is a part-time personal project with the intention of it becoming something. I do want it to become a product. But yeah, I do have a full-time job. So this is a platform at this point that is big enough that I'm able to test and treat it as a real project. Well, as a real product. The code is sizable. The problems are real. The only thing I don't have is customers. But yeah, so I can take my time on deadlines, but I can also um, 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 focus on solving real problems. Sorry, my attention was lost there due to me realizing I should do something a little differently. Change it like this. That's the style I should do here. Hotel file net.ts. Add telemetry. That should be, and then this should be removed. Any questions, thoughts, opinions you have on anything you see on the stream, you're more than welcome to share. I do this to share the journey, to show how I might develop software. Doesn't mean it's perfect though. Okay, I just copied those in and I didn't mean to delete them that way. Regarding Seek, the hotel hookup is somewhat simple to swap from the outpost to Seek because of service defaults. So I love somewhat simple. That's awesome. Do I normally pass in namespace last? Yeah, I do. Namespace and service collection. What is that like? That is that one. Yeah, that's simple. The only reason I'm saying that is if it's in control tower that you're talking about there, then it's yet another thing I have to figure out to set up afterwards when I deploy it. So if I figure this out, then I have to figure out installing Seek and stuff. So I set that up. So if you're going to do it, yeah. Hotel collector. Let's leave that there for a second. Okay, so this is hotel collector service. I've got to learn my way around the names, what the names mean, what the namespaces mean. I know that labels do allow it to kind of match things, so labels have more power than you realize. Yeah, that's challenging at best. Okay, so we have a deployment. where do they define the service? They don't define the service. They define the config map. The config map, they specify. Whoa, guys. Config map looks like this. The dogs have left the room. Morning, Doctor. How you doing? Hotel collector settings. This is a bit of blind faith, by the way. This is me. I'm typing it in rather than just copying and pasting it. But this is a bit of blind faith in so much as I am. So we could call it auto collector config, right? I'm reading what Claude's telling me to do to set this up, and I'm typing it in so that I don't completely lose track of that. But yeah. First read file async. So I need the configuration that way. I need to make some methods out of some of these things and make some reusability because it's getting harder to. So that's going to be infrastructure, hotel, collector config. And that's going to be that. And that's going to be configuration map apply. So that'll read that file in. This is useful. I use this normally because I'm changing values out of this configuration. So it's kind of a basis. If I need to change it, I can use the mapper to map any specific variables or points out there. So services collection. So I can do that. And so we have the config map now. Now they do the deployment before they do the service, but I'm going to do the service before deployment because I prefer to read it that way. Okay, so let's take that. So those are the ports for those. That's interesting. Prometheus port. Well, okay. This is setting me up to use Prometheus. I asked Claude to give me how. So I asked it how to set Prometheus up using TypeScript for Halloumi. It gave me that, but it didn't give me the collector. I said, okay, I want to use the standard collector from ASP.NET because that's already configured. Because it started by suggesting I include the Prometheus libraries into the .NET, the service defaults. I don't want to do that right now because I don't want to make any more changes to that release. I don't want to make, like, down the line, if that's the choice, that's the choice. But again, pulling in extra libraries to try and figure things out at release time is really kind of messy and runs the risk of I've got to be very thorough about where I make sure that I commit things and how I commit things so the timelines, like the code is maintained properly. So I don't like doing that sort of stuff on the fly. I did enough of it yesterday to know that I'm really not comfortable with that in general. Okay, so they give me the config. Prometheus configuration. Let's optionally consumers of .NET Aspire service defaults can uncomment some code to enable the Prometheus exporter or the Azure Monitor exporter. You have to include the packages though. It's not there. I thought I checked, but I didn't see Prometheus defaults. Yeah, is it there already? By the way, I would have still had to Prometheus isn't included there. Prometheus isn't included as a default package. So, yeah. Didn't think I missed that part. So my hope is that what I can do is I can just set up the endpoint, this value, once I get this done, and then yeah. Hey, doing well. What I've released the latest version of my platform for project management and planning. I've been building this for a while. This is the latest version after about 4 months of changes. So the concept is a familiar one if you do any sort of software development in teams. If you want to try it out, you can sign up here. That is a site hosted locally to me, so I can shut it down if need be, if there's any problems from it. Right now, if you are looking to use it, I would ask that you do log into the Discord and provide any feedback you have. That would be helpful to me. The focus of the application is I want to separate out the actual act of the development from the planning and keep those two worlds joined, but managed. So the concept is one of the product management teams go and figure out what they want to build, what they want. They create planning items which allow them to group together requirements. Planning item. I'm not going to dictate what a planning item should be, but it's basically a set of requirements make up a planning item. So you could consider a requirement a story, or you could consider a planning item a story. But you define the requirements for the developers to look at. Once you're ready to say, yes, this can be done, I'm not going to show this on this version because this is the actual version we're using to dog food. We go through, we add the requirements. So now this one is a real requirement, introduce teams, we need administration, we need sprints to be updated, we need to create the task to assign a team. So these are all things we need to do. At that point, the development team will sit down and go through and task out what it takes to actually achieve this thing. Once the developers have done that, they can go into their backlog and estimate if they want to, and then assign that to a sprint. And the sprint will then, I closed the previous release sprint and created a new sprint and moved all these back over into this one. But then you can track the work in the Kanban style board right now. It is labeled with the start and end date, but there's no enforcement. There's nothing there stopping it from happening. What's the major way you kept things separate compared to Jira? So in Jira, you create a story. You create an epic. You create stories within an epic. You create tasks on a story if you want to. When product teams are planning, those stories go into Jira. So the backlog looks like work, right? Even if that backlog is made of 80% not fully fleshed out stuff, you've still got to filter through to understand what's there. This creates planning items. These planning items are not work. They are things that need to be looked at and reviewed, and at the right point can be reviewed with the developers. Once the developers are going to work on something, they work inside of this task system, right? So they work over here, right? this is work to be done because they've agreed upon it, they've set it out, they've laid it out, they've done what they need to do there. From the planning perspective, those, and I can't show it in this version. I don't know if I'm set up to run. Let me start up the actual dev version so I can tinker and show better. But the concept is giving each side of the business, or each side of the team, the ability to work in the way they need to work to capture what they need and kind of guide the product team, because ill thought out requirements aren't going to yield very clear tasks, right? So it's going to show. Allow the developers to estimate on the tasks. So, hey Redroom, how you doing? Allow developers to estimate on tasks rather than, large stories that have no technical layout to them, and then allow the product team to see progress without actually having to ask, because the tasks will be smaller, the tasks can move around, and we can see where they are. So the intention of this ultimately is to kind of show a Kanban board in here of where the requirements are for this particular planning item, so you can actually see the progress at a glance. One of the things I want to focus a lot on as we go forward the next couple of months is the communication methods, the ability to tell people things are changing, things are happening, without actually having to have that conversation all the time, not having developers track where a project is, etc. Yes, yeah, decoupling them, but joining them in the appropriate ways so that the developers can see their progress and the product can see the progress, but they don't have to use the exact same tool for both. So, yeah. It says, I like it. Yes, thank you. So let me start the dev version. I'm a web developer and PM. Oh, fun. I just feel that Jira gets too cluttered, and especially if you're putting in a lot of items, and it gets easy to just track empty stories. And then to anyone looking at it at a glance, there's just a ton of work to do, and there really isn't there because you haven't had the time or chance to plan it or prepare it, etc. So trying to provide the tools and focus people. Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to do is provide that separation. So initiatives are a bigger roll up of planning items. So an initiative can be laid out, and there's a lot more to come in initiatives. I'll show the dev version in a second. Are you signing in with that? So the dev version has a bit more data to it. So when you estimate, so I'm making it, you estimate the tasks. So the task can be small, the task can be big, but they're estimatable, right? So that they don't really mean anything. They're just kind of confidence, right? So if the devs can break things down and point those, or time estimate those, or whatever scale you want to use, it's going to show you their confidence in getting that done. And allowing them to do that means that, from the product team perspective, the total is 2, right? That's what you're looking at there for that so far. I think I had one with, yeah, here. So these have all the tasks pointed. Dev's only dealing tasks and PM's only dealing requirements. That would make sense to me. Yeah. So, these are estimated at the initiative level. These have estimates on them, right? So ultimately what I want to do is keep track of how long that estimate took to complete. And then based upon the estimates you put on stories in the future, be able to kind of warn the product team, by the way, based upon historic results, there's a risk of this missing its expected completion date, right? So being able to adjust expectations and requirements accordingly based upon just the system telling you, we're looking at the data, and the data says the team is likely to miss this one, right? I know that's potentially a challenge for teams because obviously you don't want to impose deadlines, and hopefully the guidance there would be it's giving you a warning that it might not be fully fleshed out, or there might be some pieces missing or whatever. But the expectation there is these tasks can be very small, right? They can be very manageable. They don't have to be. They don't have to fit in the story. They're now taskable as, add a button on a screen. That can be a task. We know we can do that quickly. Add a database call. That can be quickly done. These estimates can come down in size. Yeah, so that's the concept. And right now I'm not dictating points versus time. You can put a number on there. But yeah, this is again, that's what it looks like when it's in flow. Dog sizes. Yeah. That is a Chihuahua. Yeah. But you're more than welcome to test it out. Again, if you have any problems, you can post in the Discord. If you have any thoughts or opinions, I would appreciate the feedback, especially someone who is also a PM. The problem with streaming development on Twitch is I'm going to attract more developers than I am PMs. Yeah, that's an absolute Loki. So yeah, what I'm trying to do right this second is trying to figure out if I can set up. Do that automatically? It did. Targets hotel collector service. .ls telemetry. That's VC that cluster. There you go. $19.90. Okay, so it starts up on $19.90 for an export of Prometheus. Okay. And I assume I'm going to have to specify this address in the hotel endpoint somewhere. Okay. Okay. So with the hotel there, the deployment of Prometheus. Let's get to the deployment of the hotel collector still. That was a bear. Okay, so we have the config map, we have the service. We do this, okay. So we have the hotel collector, that's the actual deployment in the namespace. Change as needed, thank you, yes. Did you own the qualifying home that you bought or built for more than 30 days before making this request? Why would that be a rule in the first home buyer's savings account? How am I supposed to use this money for the down payment if I have to own the home first? Yeah. Trying to use the money to make the down payment on the house, but can't make the down payment on the house because you haven't paid the down payment on the house. Or own the house. That's fun. Deployment. So what I've done with all of the Pulumi stuff is I kind of broke them down into like these little pieces to try and just keep them organized. there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of copy and paste, which is dangerous. But yeah, I try and conf. So that's conf mount path. Okay, so that's auto collector config volume. So there has to be a volume somewhere. They have to set up a volume for it. Well, do you set the volumes up? No, you do not set the volumes up. So where are the volumes? Oh, okay. That's config map. Door. So that will map that, and it will take that file. So it'll become like a file system, is if I'm understanding that correctly, and that'll create the auto collector config in YAML. YAML that matches that in that directory, so it has that available to it. So that should be the OTel piece. Return the service in the deployment. OTel collector service. Now Prometheus. Let's go back to Prometheus. So Prometheus, I kind of did some of this already. You need experience to get an entry-level job. Yeah. Okay, so what they're recommending for Prometheus is that. But hold on. Oh no, volume mounts. And then volume goes square brace there. I think volumes goes here, yeah. No, volumes goes to the next level. Volumes goes there. So that's going to be config map again, isn't it? Yeah. Prometheus config volume. That gets etc. Prometheus. Prometheus storage volume. I did create storage for these. Yeah, create storage, data storage. The configuration map needs to be there, but storage wise, 7 years of experience in this role with a degree and 2 years experience in something else, paying 50% industry standard. What? Sorry. To get an entry level job, you just need to figure out the jobs that are asking for experience, but not paying enough to get people with experience. I had to get experience and figure that out. That's nice. So, what I'm doing, I'm trying to learn as I copy paste here. I'm not trying to just cheat my way through this. Persistent volume claim. That's how I set that up. Okay, there we go. Data storage metadata name. There you go. I don't know if that's actually going to do very much for us, but we'll find out. Config map ref. They actually don't. They set Prometheus config. Let's see if that was. That might actually trip us up. They don't use the end. They like it's. I mean, I suppose it is copying someone's code, so from somewhere. Okay, so we need to take the ports as well. So container port, web, 9090. That's all we need. And then on the service, we need the same thing. We just need to do web, 9090, 9090. Basically, it's saying in my use LTL exporter. So hold on, why? How does that use that value? So I assume if I set that endpoint, yeah, if I set that endpoint, right, it will use that, and then it will use that value. So, okay, so we just need to be able to set that value. Yeah, because that in Claude is suggesting that I hard code the value into the based upon the set Prometheus endpoint, but I don't need to do that, do I? Hotel endpoint is 4317. So I set that to 4317 and then that should hook up. Okay. So basically, I should be able to get them to come up and work. So create, did I call it create telemetry? Add telemetry. Yeah. Did I just completely change how I did that? Well, that ain't solid, is it? Nope, that ain't solid. That is kind of daft. That's kind of messed that up a little bit. So I have this shared service collection. So basically, what I can do is I can actually make things wait on other services. So I don't know if this is a good idea. It's kind of one that I kind of evolved into. But yeah. Okay, so I need to add telemetry, build. So it's that will work because what it'll do in here, it adds the service, the auto collector. And now we're going to do services collection dot services Prometheus equals no build Prometheus, which I'm sure I put build Prometheus. Yeah, just need to copy the. Actually, we don't need that. We don't need that on there. We don't need to pass the service collection in to that. We just need the namespace. You know, the piece I didn't copy. KAS core. Yeah. Okay. Name is not used. Okay, we're good there. We're good there. Okay. Here we go. What's the worst happens? I get this wrong. I get this wrong, and it breaks things. I will be less than impressed, but we'll see. So this doesn't make anything work. It just means that I'll be able to see if Prometheus starts up and I can access it. Um, there's no ingress yet. There's nothing there setting it, so I'll have to export the. I'll have to port forward it for right a second. Ooh, there's a problem. Cannot set properties of undefined hotel collector. Really? I've tried this 3 times now, and it will not upgrade to the latest version of Polymmy. I've followed their instructions. It's gone through. It's installed, and it still refuses to take. Hotel index line 17. Cannot set properties of undefined. Hotel collector. Is that app? Hotel collector. Um, it goes through. It just stays on 3.1.28. I just need to uninstall it fully and try and reinstall it. But it's complaining. It's been complaining about you need to upgrade from 3.1.28 to 3.1.6.3 for months, and I did the update yesterday. Morning, Apex. How you doing? You got two different. How do you have 2 different installs of .NET? How do you even achieve that? Hmm. Node on your machine. Well, Node is yeah right because I did yeah I used yeah okay. I'm well. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. We got the release done yesterday. So this is the latest version and is now testable. Disclaimer: if you test it, I expect people to go into Discord and leave feedback. Rider installed .NET somewhere, and the CLI is Rider installed .NET somewhere. Why would Rider install .NET? Hmm. Maybe that's just my workflow where I've never gone through that. Um, but it still should just run an installer. Shouldn't go to any crazy paths. I didn't know it's possible to have .NET really installed in different paths. That's weird. So yeah, what I'm doing right this second is I'm trying to see if I can get OpenTelemetry installed so we can kind of keep an eye on performance and behavior as we go. If you're interested in signing up to this, you can go to there. There's no he says as he's really, really slow. So there. Linux distros have different locations. Some put it in var label, others var share. It's a mess. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Ugh. That's messy. So what I'm trying to do right this second is get OpenTelemetry and Prometheus installed. And when I can do that, then I can actually potentially see metrics on the system. What is it complaining about? Well, did it actually complain? Let's read that again. Failed with unhandled exception. Cannot set properties of undefined setting OTel collector. Service config map. Right. Let's do it. Did that change the error in any single way? I don't think it did. Hold on. Is it there that's the problem? Is that it? Hotel collector. No, because I've got all sorts of names in there, haven't I? Maybe I don't. Maybe that's because it's an object. We'll see. Let's try that once more. Oh, same thing. Okay. Okay, so it is trying to do this. Build auto collector. Config map. But why is it not? Why is it build auto collector from collector, build Prometheus from Prometheus? That's yeah, that's fine. Because then down here we do add telemetry. We're passing the services collection to make them available. It's saying line 1750 in OTel. Oh, add some OTel 17 in OTel index. What? Line 17. Maybe, but I mean, it's complaining about saying this. But I don't understand why. Cannot set properties of undefined. Oh, hold on. Is it actually what I'm services? No, it's defined here. So this is an object that I have default values on, but then so I can look up standard things and then I can add extra services in there. The idea being that between all the installs and stuff, if I need to reference some of the infrastructure pieces from within one of the actual things, say I want to say, oh, go and get me the name of the uh, the Prometheus or whatever when I'm configuring it, or the OTel exporter, I don't have to hard code that in those things. I can use the reference from the shared services to tell me what that is. This normally works fine. Add telemetry. I don't think I can put a debugger in here because there's nowhere to debug it through. There must be some way of debugging it. I do not know what that is. No idea how to debug this. Yeah, current file. I can't debug the current file. That'd be awesome if I could debug Pulumi though. Can I debug Pulumi? Digging? Sounds... I don't want to use Visual Studio Code. Is there a... Please tell me there's a Pulumi import, a Pulumi plugin. That'd be awesome. Oh, no. Never mind. Okay. Well, let's see if we can figure this out. So, if this is... So, if I'm right, then this will tell me it doesn't have... This will give me an error on the Prometheus thing, right? Because it's just going to say, cannot set properties of undefined. Setting auto. I think that it thinks the services collection is undefined. Yeah, it is that. Okay. So for some reason, the shared services collection I'm passing in is invalid at this point. That's exactly what that is. It's a services collection. I return it deliberately here because that gets passed around the entire system, right? When I create the modules, so I get the services collection from build infrastructure. I then call the create modules, and the create modules passes down the services collection and does this exact same pattern time and time again. So why wouldn't it be set? Services. Oh, that's why it wouldn't be set. I never initialize it. That's my... Okay. So these are all nested. Add tenant management lives on its own, but that's why it doesn't work. Because that line should not be there. It should be... should be that, shouldn't it? So it works everywhere else because I'm setting it. I'm actually defining the services. This might stand a better chance now. Different error. No such file directory. Oh yeah, because that references infrastructure Prometheus, infrastructure hotel Prometheus config. Should have known that one before it gave me that warning. So there are a few other changes that I did in this. Some configuration changes. I named, so my RabbitMQ image was named broker. This is creating the things, promote settings. Yeah, it looks really intimidating considering you're like, oh, there's only 2 files. So the release yesterday was not the smoothest thing I've ever done. This definitely made it easier, considering what I'm trying to deploy. Right, from a deployment perspective, Pulumi held up really well. Right, the mistakes were all mine. I did not plan efficiently on migrations. I missed SQL updates. I was too focused on getting the solutions completed, the features added, the solutions completed, and did not. Why are you now struggling, RabbitMQ? Please tell me do not break. So RabbitMQ deployment is stuck and Prometheus can't pull the image. Well, this is going well. Oh dear. So what I changed is this was called Broker. So I just called it RabbitMQ. I did not want to bring everything down, but I will have to, I think, if I want to get that back up. I could delete the deployment and see what happens. This one, image pull back off, that I think is failing because that image is incorrect. Prometheus image Docker Prometheus from/Prometheus. What did I set this to in here? Prometheus latest prom/Prometheus. Pulling me up. Let's see. He's still pending. RabbitMQ. If I go and delete your deployment. Deleting the deployment will prevent the pod from starting because it's not actually now releasing. So now if I do pull me up, it should recreate the RabbitMQ piece because it doesn't exist. It should do a comparison and see the RabbitMQ is not there and then put the new one up there with the new deployment. Yes. Except it failed. Okay, we're gonna bring it down. I can't bring a single deployment down. That's annoying. And also Prometheus wasn't in that list. Okay. Yes. So that's not exactly what I want to do. I don't want to bring the entire system down and then put it all back up. What I need to learn how to do here is deploy a single piece. Or bring down a certain piece for maintenance. I don't quite know how to do that in Pulumi yet. How do you say, okay, well, I just want to remove this piece from the service. So the reason I want to be able to shut things down as well is if it can set up health checks and stuff correctly, then I actually can have the application as a whole react to the fact that a component of it's unavailable. So if planning is disabled for some reason, like the planning component of the system is disabled for whatever reason, the system is able to highlight that and prevent you from doing anything that is changing planning temporarily. Or, if the task system is not fully available, then it should prevent you from doing things that involve changing the data. You can still read it, but you can't write it. The view system being down would be catastrophic. So there's no way that that's necessary. But Yeah, it takes about 2 minutes to bring everything down, and the similar time to go back up. So yeah. This is the scary time because realistically, what I need to do is bring down the gateway or switch out the gateway for a temporary screen when this happens, so that you can't possibly get into a situation where half the system's actually active and is actually being deleted from underneath itself. Okay, so now pulling me up. It doesn't drop the storage. All the storage is retained, so the database and stuff all uh, still get retained. But I do need to do backups. I need to schedule backups of some form. That's going to be the next challenge because, again, creating multiple databases, that's kind of troublesome. One big monolithic database would help in some respects. I can hear the fan on the little machine behind me kicking up. This is punishing it. Yeah. 16 core CPU. Well, 816 Ryzen 785 something, I think. This one. These backoffs happen because what happens is the system's waiting for other pieces to kind of resolve, so it kind of self corrects after a while. Normally, he says, as everything's now gone very badly wrong. Apparently, apparently this is not the day for me. This is not good. Are you not? Why are you stuck in container crash loops? Back off. No, don't do this to me. The SQL server come back. Oh, no, the SQL server is not stable. Awesome. You know that part where I said It's great backups. Now, I have had this happen before. I have had it happen where the system just doesn't come up in a stable state and restarting is good. So I'm not panicked yet, but I have just brought down what worked perfectly yesterday. But I can't be scared of that, right? I can't be fearful of doing this because this is going to be my way forward. If I'm scared of it, then nothing's ever going to go correctly. I need to be confident in making these changes and doing things. So if it breaks, it breaks. I redeploy, and it is what it is. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. 24 hours of having the application up is pretty much scariest this could be, because it means I'm not moving forward, and this is a problem when your release is unstable, when things are not working in your releases. You're churning on that part and losing that time that you could have been developing other features, right? I'm doing the OTel thing slightly unnecessarily. I don't need to be doing the OTel stuff, but the OTel stuff would help with giving insights, and it's not something I have to change in the development right now. If I can configure this the way that it's suggesting, I can have this set up and running, and then it's giving me giving us more insights into what the application is doing. So that helps debug future issues, potentially. Okay. Pulumi up. Let's keep our fingers crossed this time. Like I said, I have had this happen before where the system just does not come up clean. So I'm not panicked. But it's still not a good feeling because it shouldn't be struggling. And the things it was struggling with there are things that don't make sense. Right? Unless I've got an ordering problem somewhere. That would be worse. So this is kind of like resolving, like, can I do this? Can I do this? Waiting on those services to start, waiting on other things to be triggered. And then things will start to appear. That looks a bit healthy, doesn't it? Let's see if it refreshes. Again. Oh no. No, 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 no. You just got oh no because it decided to lose SQL Server. So put the Prometheus thing. Let's take that out. It doesn't. Hi, Mr. Jones. How you doing? Sometimes you misplace the SQL Server. It happens. Yeah, yeah. Luckily, I have enough stuff to recreate it, but it would be hard to accept that one. Well, I have no, like, again, I want to figure out how to bring these up and down without actually specifying the entire stack. That would be great if I could just pull a piece down and put a piece up. So that's a skill I need to learn. Um, I have noticed there is definitely some um, fragility to some of these pieces. I mean, I'm putting up a whole lot of different things, right? There's network, there's storage, there's all these different things. These SQL Server stuff hasn't changed. The persistent volumes, etc., hasn't changed. It should persist them between restarts. That's the purpose of this, right? So it doesn't remove that data. It just removes the Docker container and stuff, and then when I start it back up, it's available. Um, so and we've seen that. We saw it yesterday multiple times. It goes worryingly right this second, Mr. Anhorn. How are you doing? Um, I had to restart the stack because I lost RabbitMQ. I restarted the stack and lost the stack. Then I restarted it again and lost the database. So things are going a little bit not as planned, but it will be fine. The worst that happens is I'd redeploy it, get it working, get the SQL Server configured again, and then create the databases, right? Are you using a host path volume? Most clouds do not, so you will lose the attached volumes. What, for storage? No, the storage I've had being retained. How I'm doing it is SQL Server. Yeah, I'm using host paths right now, which is fine because I'm not deploying this to the cloud, right? I'm deploying it to a server that I own, right? So this data directory should still exist. Oh, you fail now. There we go. I know some of them do take a few retries because of the Kafka and stuff lining up. Let's try. Let's see what happens now. There we go. Done. So back. So I just literally turned it off and turned it back on again. Well, I removed the telemetry piece, but that should not have created any sort of problems for that. Um, but yeah, so we should have the application back. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So things are running, things are moving. Would you want to learn how to bring up down specific resources? You can uncomment and do it up and pull and remove it automatically. So the only way of doing it bit by bit is to kind of comment out the pieces I don't want to do, and then do the up and down, or the up and change those things. So how would I do it? But to bring down a specific resource, so if I want to just bring down the SQL piece and re-up the SQL piece, I can't just bring that piece down. I have to. Yeah. Okay. So that comes down to my code design, I suppose, which right now does not support that scenario. This now I can bring this up and do that, right? Because now everything else is stable. But in that case, what I'd done is I'd screwed up RabbitMQ. I'd actually set the I use an enable flag in my config. Okay, yeah. Right now I build out the infrastructure pieces, then I build out and I don't know whether this is good or bad. This is kind of, I didn't find anything that really guided me how to do some of this stuff, but I have the index TS builds my configuration that I need, builds my infrastructure, then builds the site, and then creates the modules. So like I just do all the pieces inside of methods. Welcome to the Wild West of IAC. Yeah. So I know that telemetry did fail then. Let's just bring the hotel collector up and do that. Pulumi. Oh. Because I know that if I change the configuration and do Pulumi up, it will only give me the differences. It doesn't give me the entire stack again. But yeah. And I know the -f. I just wanted to validate. What? Oh yeah. I keep forgetting there's more to just, it's not like one line. Oh, you changed the hotel collector. No, you changed the hotel collector with a namespace, a config map, a service, a deployment. There's way more to it than that. Oh, backups are going to be bug. I need to figure out a way of automating the backup of the SQL service. Okay, so we have, come on. There you go. As I have learned, nothing is guaranteed. Oh, you worked this time? Oh, okay. So the hotel collector works fine. Let's start the Prometheus one. So I'd love to see at the end of the stream with this. So part of what I wanted to do today is also kind of retrospect as I go. You know, what could I do better? How could I change things? And I did have some thoughts yesterday after the stream. I kind of noted some things down. You know, things like the SQL scripts, the SQL tables, I miss them. I should make that a common part of the workflow that, okay, I need to document out new features. I need to structure them appropriately so that new tables, new columns, new properties are visible. I'm not using migrations. I don't like entity framework migrations, especially across this many databases. I'm concerned at the risk of managing them. And yes, I know the irony of that when considering I screwed up managing my own process. But I think there's some steps I can take in every single task or every single requirement to document out any of those things. This stuff, deployment of this stuff, if I create a new service, if I create a new receivers or consumer library, it needs to be added to this configuration, but it can't be added just yet. So, right, where does that go? When do we do that piece? How do we document that piece? Do I basically buy another couple of machines and have literally a development and test environment that I can validate the Pulumi configuration against? Okay, so you're erroring. Why are you erroring? Opening query log file. Permission denied. That's not fun. Okay, so we know OTel's working. Prometheus is not. Oh, hold on. That's not. That's Prometheus YML. That's that one. etc Prometheus. Mount path. Hold on, that's not pulling that configuration file either. How do I do that elsewhere? I do that by doing that. Well, true, yeah. But that's just the config volume. That's not actually what it's complaining about. But that configuration isn't there, so error opening query log file. Mount path. Prometheus. Prometheus data. So that should be that, right? So that's that path. Claim name data storage. That's this path, storage volume. So / Prometheus is that one. And it's saying permission denied. That's set up the same way as access mode rewrite once. That's the same way as SQL Server is configured. I don't set the volumes any differently there. That's a tricky one. Oh, you're still going. Oops. Why are you still going? Oh, don't be stuck. So we've mapped that directory now to the configuration. Let's try it with the configuration in place, see what happens. I don't know how to change that read-write ability of that. Yes. So we're just going to have to give this a go. If you are new to the stream, if you have any thoughts, questions, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in. I am not just trying to waffle on myself. I am currently trying to configure telemetry. What are you doing? Delete. Delete. Uh-oh. Did I get myself in a bit of a pickle here? Okay, let's do that. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to try and delete these again. Deleting the pods should work. Why does it think there's multiple deployments? No, there's only one deployment. Why are you creating? Don't do this to me again. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to delete the deployment. Not always. This is what got me in trouble before, right? Not always the greatest thing to do because, as I saw before, right, it put the stack in a weird state. So then I couldn't get it back, so I had to bring everything down and back up again. Preview failed. Update of resource. So Pulumi thinks that it's in a bad state. It thinks the deployment's there, but the deployment's not there. Can I do this without restarting it? I think. I don't think I can. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it always wants to have one in good state, right? So I thought deleting the one pod, it realized it was working on another, but they were both stuck, so it just kept trying to recreate them. Now I've kind of messed that up even further because now I've got a stuck state. Pulumi. Let me refresh. Does that kind of refresh its state as to what's there on the remote end? Want to delete. Sure, why not? I assume that's the piece that's left behind from the deployment of that. Okay. Pulumi. Oh, Pulumi. Oh, I'll alias that as pop. It'll be way quicker to type. There we go. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Mr. Anhot. I mean, I'm doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, so this might end up in the exact same way. But let's give it a whirl. You know, this is random thought. Let Chris summarize your stream and have it automatically post to Discord after the stream. Have you seen what AI does with my voice, with my understanding me? No. It's going to make up random stuff. I mean, I'll try it if you're interested, but I'll turn on transcript tomorrow. There may not be a stream tomorrow, depending on breakfast. I'm sure it would understand all that technical jargon. So now we can't even get it to do to run a container. Fail to create shim task. Error mounting volume. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'll stop that. Okay, we're going to go and delete the deployment again. Yes, I know. This went so well for me last time. To the pod's gone. We're going to go to storage and delete the Prometheus storage. Yeah, I think it was something along those lines, Chris. Yeah. Now let's do a Pulumi refresh. Because it said one item to delete before. Now it's detected more, but okay. How fun would it be if you got assigned a new task at work and it was a PHP project? How much fun would that be? And PHP 4 as well. Believe me up. So we had one success with this. We had it start up and give us a configuration error, and then it hasn't worked since. Stunning. I feel like we're close as well. I think if I can get the Prometheus system to come up, then we can go and just find one of the endpoints, set an auto collector, and see what happens. You know, but why would it be easy? I mean, I'd love a PHP project, but then I work in cybersecurity, not forward dev. Ugh. PHP 8 is worlds apart from PHP where it used to be. What am I doing? Who am I? Oh, it's still stuck. Come on. Crash loop back off. Give me something. Show me something why it's not working. Sometimes text gets hidden up at the top, so because it has a line underneath the top bar, which is fun. No, there's nothing in there. It's completely blank. So it's not working, but it's not erroring, but it's not working. So how the heck do I diagnose that? So we got the storage volumes. Is this it? Is this the problem? Default mode. Four two zero. Not a thing. I'm still learning my way around this trap, to be honest. I'm not sure. Like, the deployment is yeah, I can't connect to the container because the container's not running because yeah. Um, uh, it started before, but now it's just not starting at all. Um, I changed I changed this to make sure it maps the Prometheus YML file. Oh, fun! I saw Prometheus referred to PAS. Yeah, I suppose. Why does that say we're not using data storage? We're using it there. Okay. Config volume. Again, the configuration. It was complaining about this before, so that's mapped. Yeah. Just one. Just so close. Like what? The irony. Using Prometheus inside of Prometheus. Um, I can't view the Prometheus logs inside of that. Yeah, I can't attach to the container. Pod IP default. Back off. It's not giving me. Runs failed to create container task. Failed to create shim task. OCI runtime. Error mounting. Volume Prometheus config volume Prometheus to root fs. Is it the change I made to do this? Because that isn't there. That's the problem. But so the config map file. That wouldn't. So I did change this, right? I changed that part. Pulumi up. I think this is it's not going to feed the right configuration. That's my concern there. But yeah. See the configuration. Read write, read write. Yeah. So slash Prometheus is read write. That's fine. Read only service account and read write and config volume. That's giving me less information now as well. Oh, no, permission denied. There we go. That's the original error now. Let's see. Kubernetes. Let's see. I'll help you troubleshoot this permission issue. No. Not sure how that would be then. It's file system permissions. It's failing on writing to its container version of itself. This is a mapped directory. Mount path. The system volume with correct permissions. Right, that's what that's doing. So that's the Prometheus directory, right? So that is containers volume mounts / Prometheus. Volumes, yeah, maps to that data storage, right? So yeah, that's the Prometheus storage volume. Config volume pulls from config map metadata. Okay, so that's what's going to give you the Prometheus YML still. Okay, that's hopefully. Again, I'm trying to find these things out as I go. I'm trying to learn as much as I can while trying to figure out other things. So, the only difference that Claude gives me is it puts that at the spec level. Security context, FS group, which isn't a thing apparently. Hey Palm, hello, happy Thursday. Security context, FS group 65534 is what that shows me. But that's not valid either, so that'd be that, essentially. Yeah, that's YAML versus TypeScript. That's what that's showing me. Loop me up. I'm hoping what's going to happen here is it's going to go like, once it gets a running container, those two should shut down. But we'll see. Oh, come on. Nope, same problem. Read write once. So I want to keep the data, right? So having the data directory mapped is fine. I want, but How do I get around this? Error opening query log file / Prometheus query is active. We try running it without data volume. No. Well, let's try that. So their suggestion is volumes that this becomes empty. Right. That's the equivalent. Try that. But if I don't do the data volume, then when I restart it, all the data is lost, right? So I have no metrics. I get that validating it. Validating that the volume is the problem. I'm not. I don't know. Sometimes I just think I go ahead because I want to get to this solution. That's not a helpful thing to have happen. Okay, well let's prove the concept out, and let's move forward. So, kubectl port forward svc. What did I call this? Prometheus service. Imaginative, I know. 19, is it 1990? Yeah, 1990. The interface LS telemetry. Okay. So that's Prometheus. Okay, now we need to go and set the OTel provider. So the OTel collector service, we need to set in, let's do, does Gateway use, Gateway doesn't use service defaults, does it? Was I smart and enabled? No, of course I wasn't. Did I enable it in view? Yes, I did. Okay, so now if we go and configure the view GraphQL app settings, is that, I need an environment variable, really, don't I? M from config map. Will that work if I do? So hotel collector service ls telemetry.cluster. Yeah, 4317, I suppose. And would that be that? Let's try. Answer report. Apex, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming and hanging out today. Hope you're well. I remember the gold days where we had an IS server to worry about. Yeah, those awesome days. Dear. Oh, don't you get stuck. That's not what I need. Okay, so refresh. We can see data. We can get requirements. Do we have telemetry at all? We have nada. I mean, probably missing something there. I just remember doing dev in an era where containers and being a network engineer responsible weren't prerequisites. Yeah. Yeah. Very different times, right? Uh, Well, it's why I genuinely don't think that we can really say we are full stack developers, right? It's not it's not the way it used to be. Um, Scrape interval, but they would have scraped by now. Um, oh yeah, I get it. But what I'm saying is like I can do web development, I can do database stuff, I can do some of this stuff if I'm given enough time to figure it out. I think that again, it's up to us to make sure we are kind of um, pushing back on some of this stuff because I think it's like I would not but want to be responsible for deploying this, building the software. It's just going to end up with more and more mess. Okay, so that is unfortunately my time. Um, it's kind of hopeful for this. However, that could just be a misconfiguration. That could be all sorts of things that's caused that part. Um, I will continue to try and see if I can diagnose some of that. Um, Affecting our old out of touch release process with employer. um, but yeah, overall, Liquid Sky is up and running. This is icing on the cake. Having OpenTelemetry configured, having the Prometheus system set up is just icing on the cake. It's not necessary at this point. Would it be helpful? Yeah, to put things like Jaeger and Prometheus in there would be fantastic because then the tooling is there and we can start utilizing some of those pieces, help diagnose things and learn some extra stuff, right? But right now, I think what will happen is the development of this will continue. So moving on to some new features. So next week, hopefully we'll be working towards starting the concept of teams in the system. So you can assign a task to a team, and then the task is then assigned to the user at development time. That will allow filtering and sorting. Also creating new screens for the actual planning of tasks. So right now the tasks live in this screen, but after having discussion, I agree that moving the tasking out to the tasks area, so it's an extra screen in here that basically allows you to plan Teams but no Slack. Oh no, we're gonna have full Slack integration. You're gonna work on that one. So, but yeah. So unfortunately, that is all I have today for streaming. I'm glad I did not end with it in complete disarray. If you want to give Liquid Sky a test, you're more than welcome to go and give it a test. But please go into the Discord and provide feedback because that will help me understand if there's problems, if there's things that people like and don't like, it would be great. So I will take you to today's a Fullbox day. Today's a Fullbox day. Yeah. I like going to Fullbox. It's a nice bright stream to jump into. Very friendly. So it's also Thursday. One has been very quiet today, but don't forget, One streams Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays right now. Streams dev stuff. If you like .NET, very worth checking out. Well, let's go raid Fullbox. I may be back tomorrow. I will update in Discord. I may be going out for breakfast with family, so I will update in the Discord later if that is happening. If not, it will be developers.stream tomorrow morning. If not, have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining me, and take care. Later all.